I do that? Mm, 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 mm. Did I hit play? Hey y'all. Look, I even ironed the top of my shirt. You can't even see it. That's so weak. You see that? I hope that y'all can see it the right way. I ironed my shirt. I did. So dun, dun, dun. I don't know if you can see my shirt. I purposely ironed the top of my shirt, and I want my shirt to be seen. Isn't that something? Hey, Sil, how you doing? Ah, hello, y'all. This is a rare occasion. Like seriously, I don't. I keep saying it's a rare occasion that I come live on my personal page, and it's not gonna be rare anymore if I keep doing it, right? However, I was supposed to post in the tribe. Christina, still don't tell the wives that I didn't post in the tribe today. They probably know that already. They'll be all right. Hey, Shamika, how are you, hun? Good to see you. It can be seen. Oh, my shirt can be seen. Good, thank you. Look from like this part. I hope you don't see like this part down because I did not iron that at all. So I don't know what's going. I don't know what's going to happen. What's up, y'all? What's up? So I'm coming on my personal page. I'm going into like Coach Shaquan mode, okay? Because I got a lot to talk about. I got a lot to say. So let me know you're here. If you can hear this, if you can hear me, I am going to talk a little bit, real quick, about do you have a spirit of fear? And I really hope that my good dear friend, Miss Sabrina, can catch this because she gave me this fell into my mindset earlier today. So I want to share this for those that will be joining a little later. What's up, y'all? This is Shaquan. I'm on my personal page. I can't believe it, going live. Get ready to kind of drop a little bit of Coach Shaquan knowledge that I do inside a tribe called Best, which I love my wives learning community for wives, where we build, empower, self-awareness, and truth. So y'all are getting ready to get a piece of what I do when I'm not all up in here on my Coach Shaquan. If you've ever seen me live, if you've ever attended any of my workshops, if you've heard me speak. So this is an opportunity, again, because I recognize that some people on my page have not had the opportunity to see me in action, right? All right, so, hey, y'all, what's up, Robin Booker? You know, I got to call you by full name. How are you? What's up, Jay Bird? You know, I ain't going to call your government name out. Hey, how you doing? Hey, Tiffany, we need to connect. I got your stuff, okay? All right, y'all. Let me go and get into this. So the question is, do you have a spirit of fear? And I want to give you guys a couple of tips to, first of all, identify if you have a spirit of fear, and then what you can do about it. So let me see here. I got a couple of notes up here because I want to make sure I get these definitions. Uh-oh. What am I doing? All right. So do you have a spirit of fear? So let me just say this. If you are alive, if you're breathing, if you are hearing this, watching this, seeing this, then chances are you have a spirit of fear. Why? Because fear is a natural thing that happens with all of us, no matter where you are in your walk of life. We have a spirit of fear, and that spirit of fear can show up as worry, self doubt, shame, embarrassment, not good enough, not smart enough. And it really holds you back. And it really keeps you in a place of where you begin to overthink, and then your mind starts going, and you're really taking yourself away from whatever your end goal is, what your purpose is. And so it's very difficult when you embody a spirit of fear, because it doesn't allow you to show up as your best and be most authentic and attract those healthy relationships. And I mean, it flat out, it really sucks. It sucks to be scared to do something, to have a spirit of fear, to be afraid of something. And just think about really, where does that come from? So when I think about my spirit of fear, I think about where it came from, and one of the things that I always ask, two very important questions: how did I get here, and how long am I willing to stay? Again, if you follow me, if you're one of my wives and you follow me in a tribe called Best, you know we always talk about this. You know, how did I get here? How did I get here? And so going back to this whole concept of having a spirit of fear, this aura about you, this mindset about you that keeps you in a space of being afraid. And when you find yourself in those spaces, again, it really stops you from doing something. So when I began to ask myself, you know, how did I get here? How did I gain this spirit of fear? It really goes back a lot, like very, 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 very far. And one of the spirits of fear that I hold most often is this fear of judgment. And it's really strange because again, when I was going back to figure out where it started from, I remember being a little girl and growing up in, for those, you're from this area, you're from St. Louis. I grew up in Hathaway Trails, and so we were predominantly black neighborhood. Well, my parents sent me to Grace Chapel Lutheran, so at the time it was predominantly white Lutheran school. So it was very difficult being a little black girl named Shaquan over at this all white Lutheran school. I stood out. I've always been different. I've always stood out in a crowd, and it started there. Then I would come back home and love my people on my block, love y'all, Pine Needle, love y'all to death, right? I still didn't fit in. Everybody went to Keevan at the time, the local elementary school, and it was very difficult to connect because we didn't have a lot in common. So that whole spirit of fear started very early on because it showed up as a fear of judgment. So what do they think about me at school being this little black girl and my name is Shaquan? Like, it was just a lot of factors going on in there. And then this fear of judgment coming back home, because over at the Lutheran school, we quoted scripture every day. So I'm coming back home, I'm telling parables about, the man in the tree and what God did and all this, and they looking at me like I'm crazy. So I always felt judged in that space. So then after my mom and them had to save money for my sister to go to college, so then they had to pull me from private school. And it's so interesting because that has happened to me in my own life now, and I get it. Like, I understand how the money just runs out. So they put me on over there to Keevan, and I had to adjust, right? So there was a fear of showing up in now this new environment as the girl that's coming in. It was third grade. People had kind of already had their own little groups and cliques. So the fear of judgment then made me act out and made me behave and create relationships that kind of not made me stand out so much. Again, holding that spirit of fear started way back then, and it carried through, right? So if you guys, let me know you're out there. Like, this is very important. Let me know you're out there. Give me likes, give me hearts. Like, I'm a kid. Like, I need validation. I need to know you're there, right? Boom. Thank you. I need to know that this makes sense. So I really want you guys to look at, and that was just a quick story that I shared. And if you're watching the replay or you're just joining, I'm talking about the spirit of fear and where it began, where I recognized it began for me at a very, very early age, probably about 5 years old. I was in kindergarten when I first remembered. Hey, Chantel. Hey, love. How are you? Hey, Nicole. That's the bestie from the block. That was my first friend. Like, we're like 7 days apart. And y'all know I see shiny objects, so I'm going to be all over the place. This is, on my personal page, you get to really get a chance to see what Coach Shaquan is like. This is what it is, right? So you got to take what you need and leave the rest. That's the best thing that I can tell you. Hey, Adrian. How are you? You hear me? Child, because you know. Hey, Shay, how are you? Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. Okay, so do you have the spirit of fear? So one of the things that I want you to think about is what fear looks like and what it really means and when it shows up. And I mentioned earlier that having that spirit of fear could show up in ways of self-doubt, worry, overthinking, procrastinating, shame, embarrassment, guilt, resentment, um, it is such a heavy feeling, a heavy weight, and those things will then allow us to have this spirit of fear where we don't want to show up. We don't want to be authentic because we're different. Yes, the other Shay with a Y. Yes, is here. What's up, Shay? Congratulations, you guys. Or Shay, congratulations. I saw that you launched your business today. Color Coded Kids. Is that what it is? Give us the link in here. Use this as an opportunity. Give us the link so we'll know. Because this will be, and you can tell me, starting something new and doing something different does put you in a place of having a spirit of fear, and how do you get past that? So I really want to talk about that. Let me give you guys some valuable tips that you can take away. So having a spirit of fear, it's in all of us. And if you tell me that you don't have a spirit of fear, I'm calling BS, right? What is BS? People that know me know when I talk about BS, I talk about your belief system. Check your BS, because your belief system has you thinking in a way that is keeping you stuck in a pattern of thoughts and behaviors that may be preventing you from moving to where you want to be, whether it be in your life, whether it be in your relationships. Having a spirit of fear will stunt you. It will keep you stuck. Okay, so what do we want to do? So if you feel like you have a spirit of fear, the first thing that you do is acknowledge it. You must acknowledge, I am afraid. I have a fear. I have a judgment. I have something that is holding me back. And once you begin to acknowledge that, you can be able to own those feelings so that you're familiar. You'll know the triggers. You'll know the things that comes up for you, and you can kind of identify it so that it doesn't start running your mind to those places that are unhealthy for you, having a very draining and unhealthy conversation. Or look, shiny object. I saw some on thing that said conversation, and I said conversation. It's the way I work. It's just how it is, okay? So anyway, having the first step is to acknowledge it. The second thing is to shift your mindset from this concept of thinking right and wrong, good and bad. It is a very draining concept that will put you in a space of fear, because then the judgment comes on it. And if I'm doing something that's right, or if I'm doing something wrong, and that sense of judgment gets that spirit of fear in you, and that's what stops you. That's what makes you kind of take a second look. You don't necessarily follow your first mind or your second thought. You really get stuck because, is this right or is this wrong? Is this good or is this bad? So as opposed to doing that, we look at what works. And taking the concept of what works as opposed to good and bad is very helpful, because if you think about something working, it produces for you. Work means there's some action involved in it, there's some outcome, there's some reward for the work, right? So if something is not working, then it means it's broken, or it's damaged. It needs to be fixed, it needs to be replaced, it needs to be repaired, it needs to be restored. So when we look at things in our life, and if you're embodying a spirit of fear, it's important to look at, is it working? And if it's not working for you, if this mindset of fear is not working, then there's something else required from you. It's broken. It needs to be resolved. It needs to be fixed. And so again, going back and acknowledging that you have a spirit of fear will then help you to change that mindset to say, okay, this is not working for me, so now my choices are to do something different. Sometimes we get really stuck in the whole change process because we don't want to change. We don't know what it looks like. So you embody a spirit of fear of the unknown. And one of the things we must remember is the opposite of fear is faith. So either you have a spirit of faith where you're walking in faith and you're truly going with your belief system, what your mind tells you, what you believe about God, and what the Word of God tells you, or you sit into this space of fear. And one, of course, can be very draining, right? That spirit of fear, it's draining and it's destructive, okay? So you want to be very careful and mindful of acknowledging where you are, and then looking at what works and what doesn't work, and then making a choice to make the changes for the things that don't work, right? Okay. So the next thing, and guys, please let me know if this is making sense. I want to make sure that I am giving you something valuable, something that you can think about. I want you to check your BS. BS stands for belief system, or whatever else you want to call it, whatever may have you stuck in a way of thinking that's not working for you. So the next thing we talk about is being an advocate of yourself. Sometimes we don't validate and we don't acknowledge ourselves because we are afraid of owning it, right? So again, the steps being, you have to own the fact that you have that spirit of fear. You have to check your BS, or check the mindset that you're using. And keep in mind that mindset is a particular way of thinking. All of us have a mindset, a set of beliefs, a set of thoughts that we use and we operate. And here, get your pen and paper. Thoughts create feelings. Feelings create emotions. Emotions create actions. So if you think it, then you do it. So this is, again, why it's important to acknowledge and know what your mind says about your spirit of fear, so that you can take actions accordingly, okay? So being an advocate. So number one, acknowledge and own it. Number two, changing your mindset from what's right and wrong and actually looking at, does it work? Okay, and if it doesn't work, now you have a choice and somewhat of a responsibility to do something that works, right? And then the third thing is to be an advocate for yourself. I told the story early on. If you're just catching or you're watching the replay, you remember early on, I'm sorry, if you caught me from the beginning or you were catching the replay, for those of you that have joined in, you may want to go back and check it. I told a story about how I recognized my spirit of fear at a very early age, about 5 years old. And so now I understand what that spirit is. I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. And now I'm an advocate, right? Advocate meaning a comforter, an encourager, and a counselor, someone that is Team Shaquan when I feel that there's nobody else that can understand me, that can understand my fears, that can understand the struggle that goes through my mind when I am fighting against this spirit of fear. And so being an advocate for myself, really validating who I was, who I am, and continuing to work towards who I want to be. Um, I have to kind of pat myself on the back. And then one of the things I say is it's not bragging, it is speaking the truth. You know, God and I, we got this relationship, right? So I have confirmations and I have signs and I have evidence of the things that truly work for me, that work well for me. And so I advocate myself in that space. And it's okay to say that you are doing something well and that you are taking a risk or that you are fighting against your fears, because that then again validates you. It pours into your mindset so that that spirit of fear will not embody you and really take you down to lessen who you are and not allow you to shine and grow. Okay, so again, you guys, let me know if this is making sense. I always want to make sure again that I'm delivering value, giving you something that you can think about. Okay, so the final thing, the final thing that I want to tell you guys is when I have the spirit of fear, which it happens every single day, I challenge myself to do something that scares the shit out of me. Like, that is my goal every day. Do something that scares the shit out of you. Something that makes my heart beat. Something that gives me the nerves, that makes me worry, that has me self-doubt, that wonders if I'm good enough, that wonders if I have enough, that wonders if it makes sense, wonders if that little girl that felt so much judgment, will she show up again? Like, every day I got to do something that scares the shit out of me. And quite honestly, this kind of hits it, right? It kind of makes me feel like I am stepping into a new space. Again, for those that follow me in the tribe called Best, whoop, whoop, I have the Best Wife Tribe. I love you, ladies. I am showing up. They see me. They know me. That's cool. I'm on Periscope. I'm on my Coach Shaquan page. I'm in front of live people. I'm doing videos. Like, all of that is great. But somehow coming to my personal page, people that I feel have more of a history with me, that know me, some people that have seen me through the journey, kind of scares the shit out of me to do this. I mean, it really does. So what does that mean? I'm a words girl. I love words. Words have so much power. So, and I give everything an acronym. It's how I remember. It's how it makes sense. And it's how it helps me to teach you. So, shit. I got an acronym for it, right? So do something that scares the shit out of you, that scares the shame out of you, right? So one of my favorite quotes, and this was given to me by the Angel Watkins. She's an amazing business coach and consultant. She told me once that shame will isolate you. And I really had to think about what that meant. And I'm like, shame will isolate you. And I'm like, yes, it will. The shame of your past and things that you've done, the regrets, the disappointments, the embarrassments, the shame, it will isolate you. So it will have you sitting with that spirit of fear as opposed to stepping out in faith, being seen, being shown, taking the risk, going with that gut feeling and that intuition that tells you you are enough, you have enough, and you can make it. Well, that shame will stop you from doing that. So every day I do something that scares the shame out of me, right? The second thing, I do something that scares the hurt out of me, that pain that I sometimes feel when I remember what used to be. The challenges that I had in my marriage, the challenges I've had in friendships, the challenges I had when I used to work for the people. Like, all of those things bring up hurt feelings sometimes. And what I know for sure is hurt people hurt people. You know, as cliche as it sounds, it's true. Hurt people hurt people. And because of that, I must be mindful to do something that scares that hurt out of me, so that I am not showing up in a way that represents the old me, and not the one that has been transformed, the one that is owning the fact that I'm different. I think differently, I do differently, I see differently, and the spirit of fear sometimes does not allow me to show up. And if I don't show up, then I'm not able to serve. And if I can't serve, then someone else isn't being fed. So that spirit of fear will do that to you, okay? And so the next one is I. So your insecurities and your imperfections. Oh my gosh. The things that I am most insecure about are the things that people find to be my strength, right? Oh shit, that's what I'm saying. You gotta do something that scares the shit out of you. The shame, the hurt. Like, now we're on the insecurities and the imperfections. Thank you, Shay. Shay G with the Y, not the I. And I'm Shay, no Y. Okay, it's just S.H.I.T, just for future reference. Okay. So anyway, so doing something that scares the insecurity and the imperfections out of you. Again, the things that I feel that I'm most insecure about are the things that people find as my strengths. and it's very weird. So I challenge you to really look at those things that you look for yourself, and you look for those flaws. Those are things that make you stand out. And when you stand out, you can show up. And when you show up, then you can serve. And when you can serve, people are being fed. We are in a spirit of being kingdom builders. So having a spirit of fear will prevent you from doing the work and the purpose that God has called you to do. Okay. So again, I hope that this is making sense. I hope that this is settling into you. I'm hoping that I am serving you in a way that allows you to get full, and then you can go back and digest. Again, take what you need, leave the rest. Okay. Here we go. The last one is T. Okay. Do something every day that scares the truth out of you. Y'all don't like that truth, Lord. Lord, y'all don't like that truth. And let me tell you, I sometimes sit here and cringe. I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot read some of these posts, and I cannot read some of these pictures and all of this, because it is clearly a disconnect between how people really own their truth. Okay. In Coach Shaquan world, I say that truth is where your heart and mind meet to be within the will of God. And so when you're in that space of truth, sometimes you don't want other people to know that about you, because it will subject you to the judgment and the rejection. And that then embodies the spirit of fear, right? And so doing something every day to scare the truth out of you truly moves you closer to the purpose and the will of God. Being in that place of truth, again, where your heart and mind meet to be within the will of God, uh, you got to scare that out of you. You have to scare that out of you. Y'all knew that was. You love that. Look at my shades showing up. Love y'all. Love y'all. You know it's the truth. It absolutely is. You got to scare the shit out of you, the shame out of you, the hurt out of you, the insecurities and the imperfections, and the truth. You must do that every day. Do something that challenges you to show up, that challenges you to separate and break up from that spirit of fear that you have, because fear is a figment of your imagination. It is a part of you that stops you from being you. It is the enemy. It is the insecurities. It is the shame. It is the judgment. It is the rejection. It is the pain points. It's the hurt. It's the thing that keeps you up at 2 a.m. You don't want anybody to know that about you. It is that thing that makes you do and say differently than you truly want to. So we must be very, 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 very mindful. Check your BS, okay? What is BS? I want y'all to learn this now. BS stands for belief system. Check your belief system or whatever else that has you stuck, and do something every day that scares the shit out of you, okay? So I probably have rambled for some time. I don't keep track of time. I do want to go back again. If you are just catching this, please go back to the beginning. I truly believe that this is going to really bless someone and help someone. I'm doing this um, because I can no longer keep all of this inside. Like it's a lot that goes on in here, and I'm so grateful for people that know me and love me and trust me and understand me. So my spirit of fear will no longer work. It no longer works. It no longer has power. So when I begin to push and do the things that scare the shit out of me, right? The shame, the hurt, the insecurity, the imperfections, I really couldn't decide or choose is the word I use. I really couldn't choose which one made more sense. I went with both of them. I mean, why not, right? And the truth out of you. So do that. Y'all go back and watch this and listen to it again. Because I'm speaking to myself right now, and I'm like, this was pretty good. You did all right there, okay? Off the dome, off of a conversation that I had with my girlfriend Sabrina today. Sabrina, when you watch this, honey, just know that the spirit of fear is very strong, and we won't succumb to that. We just won't do it. So for all of you all, really think about it, what that looks like, what your spirit of fear looks like, and go back, trace it back. Where did it start from? Because until you know how you got here, then you'll stay here in a place, and your mindset will make you believe that you can't, you're not good enough, you don't have enough. I'm going to go back over them again. That shame and that hurt and those insecurities, and those things will keep you bondage to this mindset that is just not healthy for you. Okay. All right. I think I have rambled enough. Thank y'all for being there. Tiffany, thank you, my love. Tiffany, I am loved. I appreciate that. Thank you, Nicole. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. So do you embody a spirit of fear? So if you're just joining, y'all gonna have to go back to the beginning, because I think it was good. I mean, you have to ask the people what they think. And just because you don't like this doesn't mean it's not your truth. Just so we can say that, right? Likes do matter. They don't change your truth. Let's be clear on that, okay? So this is me. This is Coach Shaquan. It's late night. I'm about to go chill with the hubby. You ready? You about to pop that popcorn? Hello? Babe? Hello? You gonna pop that popcorn? About to get that popcorn popping, yes, because that's what we do. And yeah, so I'm excited. I did something today. I'm stepping out. I am showing up in on my personal page a little bit more. For those of you that don't know, I don't know how you don't know. I don't know. I don't know how you don't know. Do you not know? I don't know. So I'm going to tell you. It's Coach Shaquan. So who am I, right? Man, it's a lot. I'm gonna start telling the story. The story is unfolding, and it's time for me to tell it. So stay tuned, right? If you want to know more, want to find out what all of this is about, go to my website, CoachShaquan.com. Today is actually my 1 year anniversary of when I launched my website, and it's so interesting because I am about to launch a new one. So it's just everything is kind of falling into space. I'm so excited. Hey, Gwen, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed. You're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, KK, how are you? Oh, it was great. I'm glad you liked it. And Barbara, Lord, I got a story about Barbara Perry. You guys, okay, so one of my other things I'm going to start telling is how I'm a vessel. And it's just a lot that goes on in that. And Barbara, you were one of my stories when I started talking about me being the vessel. It's going to be so, so interesting. So love you guys so much. Thank you for joining again. Do you have a spirit of fear? I want you to go back if you're just joining and watch this. It was good. I'm just going to tell you, it was good. I mean, take what you need, leave the rest. But this was really good, okay? Thank y'all for joining me. Have a good evening. Look, I did my. I used to say choose your attitude. So if you follow me on my Coach Shaquan Facebook page, you know I usually say choose your attitude. This says change your attitude. You can do that too, or whatever. All right, rest easy, my friends. It's about time for me to be up. So again, that signature. Peace. Take it easy. Do something that scares the shit out of you. You got to go back and watch it so you know what I'm talking about. Peace.